I am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle. Shockphobia Fest.
Welcome to Prattle World. I'm your host, the ever-amazing, ever-spectacular Spider-Dan. And in this podcast, I spotlight entertainment's best-kept secrets that a mainstream audience may find boring. And welcome to Shockphobia Fest, a month-long celebration of All Hallows Eve's most frightening films and comic spooks. And today, we are going to initiate another Clone Wars, comparing two very similar movies. Two films go in, and only one walks out. And I am back with my favourite of the Scouse people, Mr. Dan Burgess.
Hello.
Welcome back, sir. How have you been?
I've been Scouse.
You've been Scouse?
Yes.
Yes, you have been. That was how I would describe you.
I'm proper Scouse.
You're a proper Scouse.
It's proper getting worse, you know. I went to the doctors and I said, hey lad, I'm a bit Scouse this week. And he said, yeah lad, you have to just take some tablets and that. And I said, nice one lad. But I don't think they worked. I've just got a bit more Scouse lad.
If anything, they've accelerated the condition.
Proper have. I've gone dead phlegmy and that now as well. Keep on saying chicken and that, you know what I mean?
Great stuff. Great stuff. Before we get too offensive, to apologise to all Scousers of the world.
To my fellow Scousers.
It's all right. He can say that because he is Scouse. It's cool. It's the way it works. Those are the rules. And I can say Blackpool people are scum because I'm from Blackpool. It's fine. Apologies to everyone from Blackpool. So we are back.
They won't be listening. They haven't got electricity.
No, they don't. It's back to the Stone Age for them. So today we are here to compare. It's Halloween. It's Halloween.
It is indeed.
'Tis the season.
To be jolly.
Well,
if you like
jolly scared.
Yes.
But yes, we're going to compare two movies. So, first of all, let's tell them what the movies are. So, what is the first movie we're going to be looking at?
Tales of Halloween.
Tales of Halloween.
Or, as its full title is, the October Society's Tales of Halloween.
I wasn't entirely sure what the October... Do you know who the October Society are?
I have no idea.
I guess it's the filmmakers, maybe?
Possibly, yes.
Who knows? We probably should have researched this more.
Yeah, research me.
Oh, well.
It's Halloween.
And the second film is Trick Treat, or Trick Treat, because obviously
it's a pirate film.
Yes, it's a pirate film because they couldn't get the rights to the name Trick or Treat. More than likely, because there is quite a few films. I think there's a rock and roll-esque Halloween film called Trick or Treat.
Yeah, I remember that one.
With
in the dim distant past
80s
hair rock.
Yeah, hair metal. That scary hair metal. Yes. Scare hair metal.
They actually did do quite a spate of films involving undead rock stars and stuff like that.
Well, I guess heavy metal and Alice Cooper and all that sort of stuff is kind of the horror theming has worked its way into rock music, so it works. So, shall we compare them? Let's get down to it. It might be quite a short podcast. Who knows? So, Trick or Treat. Well, it's two films. One of them is better.
One of them, yeah. So it's two films. One's really bad, and the other one's pretty good.
Okay.
So there we go.
All right. End of the podcast. I hope you all had fun.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Dan, for coming.
No worries.
This has been great. See you next time. Goodbye. Only kidding. We are actually going to go into details, but that is what is going to play out. But yeah, let's start at the beginning. Let's start with start. Yes. So let's go for Tales of Halloween. Mm-hmm. This is from 2015, and Trick or Treat is from 2009, I think.
I believe so.
Let's go over the reasons why I've chosen these two films for comparison before we compare. I think that's only fair. So the reason for the comparison is two anthology horror movies. So straight away, they're full of smaller stories.
Tick.
Tick that box.
Check.
And they are both set on Halloween night.
Check.
And all the segments are set in the same town, somewhat, I believe. Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Yeah.
I like to think so.
One is definitely, and the other one is you don't really care.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I think I'm correct in that regard, anyway. And both feature a non-linear narrative. So all the different segments are mixed all together. So they're throughout the same night, but where you find them and when you experience them are not. It's like a Tarantino movie. Yeah, it's very much like that. So let's get cracking. Crack open some skulls. And let's crack open some Halloween goodness. Tell us about Tales of Halloween, Dan.
It's a 10 story.
Yeah, it's 10, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah.
So this is more of a creep show style Tales of the Unexpected style, so where it's 10 separate tales.
That's correct.
But all set on, obviously, Halloween, as you say, possibly the same town.
Yeah.
But they don't really interweave together.
I mean, we're not talking about Trick or Treat just yet, but I'd say Trick or Treat does, they weave in a little better. There is a little bit, there's a few kind of hints that they're weaving in between. So you see there's a group of kids in it who are part of one of the main stories, and you see them throughout. You see them trick or treating at each other's houses and various things like that. But it's very thinly
It's more of a, like, when like, Creep Show, for instance, you have the Crypt Keeper.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and
you have the one element to tie in. But this also has, they play Night of the Living Dead. The film is playing throughout the night.
That's pretty much the only thing. But I think that also skips in a few of them.
Yeah, I agree,
You don't see that, so it's almost you forgot about that.
Yeah, maybe.
Passage.
Yeah, they've kind of gone, this through line isn't as thorough as we want it to be.
This one is more of a portmanteau film. It's not it's your old fashioned Tales of the Unexpected style, or like Tales from the Crypt, where the people were in a crypt and they were telling their tales. It is literally like 10 different stories rather than a one story.
I think we should mention as well that in this one, all the segments are directed by different people.
Yes.
Directed and written by different people. So it's not got, with Trick or Treat, it's all the same writer and the same director, so all the way through. So it does have that kind of, there's a bit more cohesiveness to
Trick or Treat's a film with 5 things in it. This is a 10
yeah,
films.
Exactly. Yeah, basically 10 short films.
I think the other thing that
together
connects these, if I'm right, is Adrienne Barbeau. Was it Barbeau?
Yeah.
From
The
Fog. She's basically doing her DJ character from that, isn't she?
Yeah, she is, yeah.
So that kind of connects.
The night nurse or the night watch or something. So that's
almost
like that.
So it's almost like they've got a few things that they wanted to do with this film. So they wanted to make it more of a Trick or Treat style single film with a flowing narrative and these are just characters with separate stories
that
you're going to meet in the film.
Yeah.
And I think somewhere along the lines they've gone, oh, well, hang on, this bit doesn't really fit if we do that, so we'll just get rid of that idea.
Yeah.
But also left it in.
Yeah.
So, like, the Night of the Living Dead thing.
Yeah.
And hair.
Yeah.
Seems to be, like, sporadic, and it's it doesn't really...
I agree. I think you see the kids, if you look closely, you see the kids more often than you see Night of the Living Dead, or you hear the voiceover, the radio DJ talking. But they are nice elements that sort of time together, but you're right, they're not in every single segment. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the segments themselves, all the different segments?
Yeah, so I think the first one was Sweet Tooth.
Yes.
Which I think is one of the stronger.
It
starts strong and then goes downhill from there. I think that's what you're saying, isn't it? Don't know, actually. I'm being a bit
there's some
I'm being a bit mean.
I
quite enjoyed it.
It's fun.
It's not a bad film.
No.
But there's
stronger.
Does vary
it does vary in quality throughout, yeah.
But I think Sweet Tooth is one of the stronger ones.
Yeah.
It's probably the most slashy, like, typical horror.
Yeah. It's basically, it's Halloween night, they're telling him a spooky urban legend.
Yeah, so the two the girlfriend and boyfriend who are looking after their kid. So, and they obviously want to go up and get up to naughty things.
Oh, yes.
That Jason Voorhees would kill them for, as always.
As always, every teenager in this is as horny as anything you could ever imagine.
So they're being horrible to the child
by
telling them the story of the Sweet Tooth, who basically, if they eat all the candy from their trick or treat and don't leave some out for Sweet Tooth, they will get eaten. So, and basically, it's one of those kind of tales which you can kind of guess
what's going to happen. Yeah, fairly predictable, but in a good way. Yeah. Like I like the design of the character as well. The Sweet Tooth character.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's got this kind of grimace. He's kind of like a cannibal kind of thing, and it's quite interesting. It's fun, and again, it kind of ticks all those boxes.
This one reminded me a lot of for some reason Halloween as well.
Yeah.
Just the set. The way it was set, like that little living room of a house.
It's a small house, there's a kid, it's babysitting, it's Halloween. And there's a killer.
And then, spoiler alert, at the end, you could almost see him in the bit where at the beginning of Halloween.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Where they say, Michael, and he's stood
it's
there
like,
with a big knife.
Yeah, there's all these dead people around him like, yeah. Yeah.
And he's just like, hey, I don't do nothing.
Sweet Tooth did it. Yeah. Sweet Tooth's responsible.
Well, that's it. The kid turns around and goes, oh, they didn't save any, they wanted to eat all my candy or something. And he's like, oh, child, why didn't you just say I didn't do anything?
Yeah.
Don't call the police.
Yeah, it's not me. It's not me.
Yeah. I swear it was the monster under the bed.
I don't know why he's become an elderly British gentleman.
If you notice, whenever
I'm not guilty. Honestly, I'm not guilty.
He talks like that because it's the only voice I can do.
No, I think I agree with you. I think this is one of the strongest segments. It's fun. It doesn't spend a lot of time with the setup. It gives you the kind of origin story. I do, you know, I like these horror characters to have a cool origin story. I like to see, like, why did Freddy, you know, become this dream master, this, you know, evil thing, or how did Jason Voorhees get to be who he was? I quite like a good, like,
I could
origin
almost
story.
see that Sweet Tooth being a full film. But I think the worst thing about it is it's the first segment.
Mm.
And it kind of builds you up to think, oh, this is going to be
this is going to be a good one. Yeah.
And then, like, as I say, they're up and down with the quality of things.
I think so too. Let's go on to the segment after that, which is...
Is it the night Billy raised hell?
It is the night Billy raised hell. Well remembered. So this one features a trick-or-treater. Again, horny teens wanting to get up to stuff, and they're making fun of the little brother. They're like, yeah, go up to that house that we throw eggs at and stuff, and egg the guy in the house. And it's very tongue-in-cheek, this one.
I think this is one of the best, like, filmed... The more filmic sections.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It really is fun as well.
It's kind of like a montage of Halloween pranks. So he goes to egg the house. It's not dressed for Halloween. It doesn't take any, he never has any candy. He never gives it any out. Yeah. And Billy goes to egg the house and he grabs him and pulls him into the house and they scream and run away. And
he's dressed as the devil, the kid.
Well, the kid's dressed as a little devil, yeah. But the guy who pulls her in is like a literal devil. Yeah, like he's
got a top hat on and all that.
Yeah, he's got a top hat. He's very much. He's like. I think was he in. Was it Spin City or one of the sitcoms?
He's in. Yeah,
something
he's
like
one of those
that.
faces you recognise him as being in a few.
He does. I think he does like a JFK impression in like Spy Hard or something.
Yeah.
I've seen him in a lot. He's quite a good comedic actor. Yeah. And he's having a lot of fun. And he basically takes Billy, start like performing all these horrible pranks and all these tricks on people.
For the more eagle-eyed viewer, you notice Billy looks like he's been to the gym.
Yes.
When he takes him back.
And he walks very uniquely.
Yes.
Not like a child would walk.
No.
But yeah, they progressively get worse and worse throughout the night, don't they?
He basically just does the tricks, not the treats.
Yeah, exactly. There's no treats
and
involved.
there's some horrendous stuff to people.
Yeah. We won't go into kind of spoilers too much.
I do have to spoil one.
Go on.
I think it's the best. I think it's possibly the best bit I've seen in any film ever.
Okay.
Where they do the old burning bag of dog turd. Okay. And when he stamps on it, it's a bear trap.
Oh, God, yeah. That is genius. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. That was brilliant. Yeah, it's like...
Stamps a dog turd out and
that's brilliant. That is genuinely
Whoever thought
a bit
of
of genius. That is a bit of genius. We are going to go into spoilers now because turns out in the end... It was never Billy. It's another devil. I think it's Mordecai or something like that. He's like a little devil. The police come to the house.
Yeah, and Billy comes out.
And Billy walks out. And then apparently I think in the last section they reveal what happens, and he basically gets shot by the police.
I think you hear the gunshot, don't you?
Yeah.
Like,
freeze! It's like, and he wets himself because at the start of the video, at the start of the segment, they're making fun of him. He's like, Billy wets his pants. Yeah. Billy wets his pants, and they're like, I never wet my pants ever. And he's like, Billy wets his pants, and then at the end, he's like, I wet myself. Dead.
Yes. I don't know what kind of tale that is, but it's just very cruel.
There's some. I do like the tone. I like the tonal shift between the segments because it's a nice. Because if they're all like Sweet Tooth all the way through, you would want to change it up a bit. You want to shake something. You would get bored. So I like the more comedic ones. I think I enjoyed the more comedic ones than the horror ones.
Yeah. I think as throughout the film, there's a lot of variation in quality.
Yeah.
Of everything.
Yeah.
So there's different qualities of filming.
Yeah.
There's different qualities of writing.
Oh, definitely.
And there's definitely different acting.
Oh, God,
bits.
yeah.
Some bits are a bit, and even the bits with like actors, you'd think this is going to be a great section.
Yeah.
You're still thinking, oh my God, what the hell?
Yeah, I think it is a nice love letter to those kind of 80s, 70s kind of Halloween movies as well. No matter what you feel about the segments themselves, I think it as a whole movie is fun. It's like you know, I wouldn't take it too seriously, but it's a good laugh.
It's definitely a more of a comedic.
Yeah, there's a lot more of that.
It's not straight horror.
So the next segment was Trick. Well remembered. So this basically has kind of a group of friends getting stoned, drinking, you know, having fun and watching scary movies and handing out, you know, sweets when the kids come to the door. You know, quite standard. You're not really quite sure where it's going to go.
No, it's very odd, this one.
Yeah.
I seem to remember seeing this one in a different film, which is
bizarre.
I
do as well. It feels like weirdly, the girl in the witch costume looks exactly like the girl in the witch costume in Trick or Treat.
Yes.
Which we'll talk about later, no doubt. But she's dressed exactly the same. And I went, is that the same actor? I was like, it's been like over 10 years, so surely.
Maybe that was just a little nod.
Yeah, but, and that's why I think, you know, it's kind of somewhat inspired by Trick or Treat as well. It's kind of, they get like these kids to the door and they don't really want anything. They don't really want any candy, or do they go away? I can't really remember. Do they go away or come back or? That's it. He opens the door and they gut him, don't they?
Yeah, just take him straight out.
They're just like, they go, that's it. They go trick. They're like trick or treat, and they he says trick or treat. They're like, you're not supposed to say trick or treat. They're supposed to say trick or treat, and he goes trick, and like just, you know, fucking fillets him.
And because they're stoned. The adults are all stoned, so it's like, what the hell?
And they're just like, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh my God. And then all the kids start kind of running around and it becomes like a hack and slash type thing.
Just get away from the killer children.
Yeah, it's like...
I'm not saying all kids are bastards, but you've got to watch them. You know,
I mean, they do appear to be the villains in a lot of horror movies,
they are.
To be fair. And they are a bit weird.
Little shit.
That's what I would have called it, little shits.
Yes, but then the kids basically go into the garage of this house that they just chase that last girl in there, don't they?
Twist.
And it's essentially Dexter's
Dexter's
kill room.
Yeah, the Dexter kill room.
And basically they've been getting the kids in and...
Are they organ harvesters or are they just...
They've got the eyes.
Yeah, that's it. So this poor little girl...
Yeah, the trick-or-treater's mate is basically tied up on the table.
And they're trying to save her,
with one really badly prosthetic eye.
It was pretty bad, actually.
Really bad.
It was pretty bad.
Basically, they pulled her eye out.
Yeah.
So
she cut her eye out.
They get her revenge.
So they get revenge for her. They're saving her, and they're like, she says something like, "You fucking sicko," and stabs her or something like that. And that's how it ends. And it's quite an effective kind of horror. Like, I think it's well shot, and it's got that kind of tension that you need for this kind of segment. Yeah. So I think that one works.
It's very, very different to the previous ones.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It's like a jar one.
Yeah, that one. I think it's a nice shift in you know its actual horror. It's more in line with Sweet Tooth, like we said. The following one was The Weak and the Wicked, which I quite like this one because it's basically it's another kind of origin story.
This
type
is a
thing.
really different one, yeah. Really good.
And it's basically...
It's almost, I'm not going to say Norse, but, you know, like the Danish horrors and...
Yeah, kind of...
rare exports.
Yeah, those kind of...
It feels like that kind of...
There is a kind of... Yeah, there's a ancient kind of, you know, Middle Eastern, European kind of flavour to it, definitely. And it's quite interesting because there's this gang of kind of hoodlums, if you will.
Yeah, bloody hoodlums.
Led by a female leader. And they're just... the most evil people in the world. They just like torture people, kick them in, stab them, you know. And there's this kid who kind of dresses up and then they start chasing him down, you know, and it's kind of like, again, it's the horror is this gang chasing
like late
the
teens,
child.
early
Yeah, kind of like,
age,
like a worse.
Because it flashes back, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And we flash back to this kid's child. He starts talking about the revenge and he's dressed like a demon. It's the demon of Halloween or All Hallows Eve's demon. Yeah. And he's got a bit of paper and she's like, what is this shit? Dressing up like a demon. He's got like a bike helmet on with horns. And he's like, I'll punish the guilty. The guilty will be punished. And this kind of thing. And then it turns out that I think they need to spill his blood. He's done we find out that those kids burnt his parents. They set it on fire and they killed them, and he wants revenge, and he finds this parchment, summons this demon because his blood is finally spilt, and that triggers the demon, and he's like, you're talking absolute shit. And the only shame about this is that the demon looks amazing. The demon appears, and the demon looks incredible, and we get this kind of panning. It's not pan, but whatever the camera term is for it. It goes upwards from the feet to the top. And we see this hole, and it looks incredible. It's like this demon butcher almost. And it's like this outfit's made up of loads of like people's faces and skulls and stuff. Like kind of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre type thing. And he roars and drools, and it looks amazing. And that's all we see of him, and it's gone. Yep. So I'm kind of like, I really wish I could have seen like at least him like run at them or see him move or do something.
You are expecting. I mean, and this bit's got Dylan Grazer plays him when he's young.
Yeah,
obviously he's been in it.
Bit older. Yeah. And Shazam. Shazam. Freddie Freeman.
So you're expecting quite like more from it.
Yeah.
Maybe, but and then it doesn't really.
I think that's one of the problems, that some of these ideas are too big for the timescale.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you could with a bit more time, even half an hour.
This is one that suffers from that. It's almost like they've done too much build up.
And not enough payoff.
And then gone, we haven't got time for
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I totally agree. I like the idea. I like everything about it. It's just that I kind of feel like I've been shortchanged on the ending.
And all the actors' performances are strong in this one as well.
Yeah, really strong acting as well.
Again, it's one you'd want to see the full film from.
Exactly. And I don't know if we'll ever see, because these are all done by different directors. They may want to develop that idea, or they might like that idea. So I know, is it Terrifier?
That was a short. Yeah.
That comes out of All Hallows Eve, which is another anthology, which I almost used for this particular episode. I've not seen it myself, but I'm going to watch it.
I don't think I've seen it yet. Yeah. But Terrifier
is
literally one of my favourite. I think Art the Clown, who's the guy in it, is possibly the best horror creation of this last 20 years.
Boom. Well, maybe that's something we can watch together then.
Yes,
it's something we can.
But Terrifier 2's getting made as well.
Oh, really?
They're filming it at the moment.
So I would like. I do have All Hallows Eve over there somewhere.
I recommend Terrifier. It's a proper slasher horror film.
Nice.
Old school.
Nice.
Old school kills.
Old school kills.
By a clown.
Yeah, I think this segment could have done with an extra 10 minutes, 20 minutes or something. Like if that was 10 minutes and then the 20 minutes was just the demon after them, brilliant. I'm sure that would have been really intense and really satisfying. Because with these revenge stories, you want to see the revenge, you want to see the villains get their comeuppance.
This is more like a cliffhanger ending, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's it. And maybe that's why. Maybe they were like, well, it's cliffhanger. Do you want to see the full film? Please give us money. Maybe. Who knows? So we'll move on to the next segment.
I think this is your favourite segment, wasn't it?
This is absolutely not my favourite segment. So this is basically, like, I'll just tell you how it is, because this is how it is. There's a woman at a party, with mum's party. They tell a spooky story. It scares this girl, and she's like, "Oh, you scared me, mum?" And they're like, "Yeah, we scared you. You're so easily scared." And she's like, "Right, I'm going home." And then she talks about drunk driving. She's like, "Yeah, I'm not that drunk. I'll just drunk drive." Car breaks down. She's going home. She's like, a bit scared that someone might be stalking her. She doesn't see anything, doesn't hear anything. She's like, just keep moving, keep walking forward. Gets home, thinks she's safe, sits down. It's like, "Oh yeah, all relaxed." And then there's a ghost. That is it.
The grim grinning ghost.
The grim grinning ghost. And it is the dullest, most uninteresting, paint by numbers, generic horror segment in this entire film. If you're going to watch it, I would skip this entirely. It is crap. Yeah. How do you feel, Dan?
Yeah, well, I think it's the best bit. No, I don't.
Liar!
I was really thrown off by it because at this party, you've got Barbara Crampton.
Amazing.
You've got Lynn Shay.
Amazing.
Lisa Marie.
Amazing.
And I believe Stuart Gunn is in.
Yes, I believe so. The long hair,
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, you've got
quality,
essential
talent.
Yeah, you've got horror
royalty
right there at a party, and you're thinking, oh my god, this is going to be good, and then it's just like, what the hell has happened here?
Yeah.
And again, it's like they put all the script and all the production time into that 5-second party.
Yeah.
And then just went, whatever.
It's not very scary.
How can we finish it? I don't know.
Yeah. And that's it. And I think the story is that she was the ghost is a disfigured young girl, and she takes out people's eyes or makes them go blind or something.
It just doesn't really, it's not memorable.
No. It's like, the story by, the actor, what was her name? The actress who tells the story?
Crampton.
Yeah. Oh no!
And Lynn Shay.
Yeah, Lynn Shay. Yeah, the one from kind of
She
Insidious. Yeah, she's from Insidious.
I was thinking Kingpin. She's in the back of the car and Kingpin. Everyone remembers that bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
she's amazing in it, and the story's really good, but it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Like, it's all downhill, and I don't care. And you don't see the ghost prior, really. I don't remember seeing the ghost prior. No. She just turns up. She's just like, I'm on the couch, and that's it.
It's just like, it's almost like the story's made her scared of nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really bizarre.
Rubbish.
It's shit.
So I'm gonna try and run through the last few because so Ding Dong is
best.
I loved it. I absolutely love this one.
It's like right in the middle, slap bang, and it's just.
Yeah, it's got a lot of comedy to it. Yeah. It's got some really dark subject matter.
Hansel and Gretel.
Hansel and Gretel. It's a witch, and the woman who plays the witch is incredible.
Pollyanna McIntosh.
It's all about that performance. Yeah. It's fantastic, and the way she performs that, and the way she's got these red arms keep coming out.
Yeah, really good.
And the twist at the end is really good. I really don't even want to talk about this too much because it's just that good that I feel like I'd spoil it.
Yeah, watch it.
But Ding Dong, Dong, it's about a witch. So, Ding Dong the witch is dead, but it's also about trick-or-treaters. So that is with the bell, obviously.
It's constant trick-or-treaters.
Yeah.
You hear it all the time.
It's brilliant.
Ding Dong.
But yeah, this means war, so it's basically like your classic, my Christmas decorations are better than yours.
Yes.
And it's basically like old school gothic horror, like Universal Monsters versus modern slasher.
Yeah, it's a stuck up old man.
Heavy metal.
Like with his neighbours over the road, up pure metal, like metalheads with loud
you music. Youngsters and your Halloween decorations, mine are better. Yeah. It's basically that. And again, it's a lot more on the comedy. It's a lot more kind of fun on that.
Basically, they start a big massive fight.
Yeah, bicker.
And then all goes wrong.
All hell breaks loose, so to speak.
All hell breaks loose.
The next section is one of my favourites. It's a love letter to almost every horror film you can think of.
Just by the title alone, it's going to be
Friday the 31st.
Yes.
And it features very much. It's based on Jason Voorhees.
Yes.
He's chasing a young girl dressed as a cheerleader or something, or Goldilocks.
I think she's a milkmaid, isn't she?
Oh, milkmaid, yeah. So he's chasing
a milkmaid,
and then he the regular kind of slasher genre stuff happens.
You go into a shed. It's basically a shed from Evil Dead.
Yeah. Work shed.
Yeah. You've got literally everything. It's every horror film is touched upon.
Yeah, it's like a Hellraiser thing.
You've got the alien coming down from like the day the earth stood still.
That's true. It's an absolute love letter to everything. Again, and that one's again high on the comedy, but it's really entertaining, really fun. I recommend that one as well.
And the alien says "tweet or tweet," which is the cutest thing ever.
I mean, if you guys don't even want to watch the full movie, I would just search out these segments on their own.
Well, that's what's good about this film. Yeah. I think you can actually just. It's probably better to just watch the bits.
Those segments instead, because you don't need to see the other segments really. The Ransom of Rusty Rex is next.
Yeah, this was a really good one.
Yeah, I like this one a lot.
But again, this is one where the acting you'd expect
more
better.
It's got Sam Witwer in, who was he's in Supergirl. He was the lead character in Force Unleashed as well.
Yeah, the game,
yeah, in the game as well. He's he's a talent. He's a real quality talent. But yeah, it's a bit over the top. The whole thing, I would say, it's a little scenery chewing.
Yes.
There is a cameo by John Landis as well, director of American Werewolf in London and many other films. But yeah, it's basically about this child that they kidnap and ransom. These two guys, kidnappers, and
he's like John Landis is the dad.
Yeah.
Of the or the ransom.
Yeah.
And he's like, when they ring him up, he goes, "You suckers, you know what you've done. Keep him.
This is yours now.
Yeah.
You're going to have to deal with this." And he turns out to be like a little goblin.
Yeah. Properly scary.
Yeah, he looks really disturbing. I think the actor died after this, actually. I think at the end of the movie it says that the actor passed.
They had to kill him.
No.
Oh no, sorry. That sounds a bit disrespectful. I do apologise. But he was scary.
He was scary. He was very good. He was a very good actor. But there's like a bit where they go to drown him. It's like, what kid screams like this? And it's like, and it opens it up and it's brilliant.
And then, but once he's latched onto that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So John Landis is like, you've taken him off my hands. There's no way I'm going to take him back because he just turned up one day and he's just made my life a hell, and you've taken him. Amazing. On your way. And it's a little...
John Landis is very rich in a big house, but that's the whole point, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's a big mansion house.
Yeah, exactly.
They've nicked him,
and that's why they're trying to do the whole trick-or-treat thing. For a bit, I thought that the demon from Billy Raises Hell was the same as the one in this.
This is why I think maybe it should have been.
Yeah.
and they've
I would have tied them together.
Forgotten to do it, if you know,
because they look almost exactly the same. Like I think the one's got horns because he looks more of a devil more like a devil and less like a goblin. But that would have made more sense to me to link them in.
They could have easily. There's bits where they could have easily linked all of them together and just.
They just didn't bother. Yeah. And I think that's a shame. I think they basically went, go off and do what you want. Maybe do this if you can.
Yeah.
Off you go.
But yeah, don't worry.
And then just slap them together. It did somewhat, in some ways, this felt like a bit like it was crowdfunded. I don't know if it was, but it did have that feel of like, this is a crowdfunder. Like people want this. But I couldn't find any kind of record of that. But it does have a little bit of that feel.
Yeah.
And the final segment was Bad Seed.
By Neil Marshall.
Yeah.
No less Dog Soldiers.
Neil Marshall. And this one is, again, very kitsch, very kind of 50s, that feel of the kind of monster movie.
Attack of the Killer Tomato.
Yeah, and it's a killer pumpkin.
Almost literally, yeah.
Yeah, it's a killer pumpkin, and it starts kind of eating people. And again, it's like this kind of grizzled female cop is, searching these out and finding stuff. And again, quite an enjoyable segment. Joe Dante makes a cameo as well. And is there a reference to Halloween 3? Is that like...
Happy, the
Shamrock thing. Yeah.
I think you see...
Some of the masks.
I think you see the masks, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, because it's all about the Halloween.
It's very much like that.
And that is like the Halloween movie. Like, it's more about Halloween than any other movie, I think, in some ways. So what do you think overall to the film? Did you enjoy it? Was it...
I enjoy I think it sags in the bits we described.
We talked about the lesser bit.
It's not one you'd watch again and again as a film.
No.
You'd pick the little bits out and watch those.
Yeah, the segments.
As I say, it's very bitty and some bits are great.
Yeah.
Other bits look like they've been shot on a camcorder kind of thing, you know, like student film type. They've thrown a script together.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. Oh, like so-and-so's making this film. He wants us to do a bit in it. Okay, then let's
that's fine. I guess
I've had this script in my bag for a few weeks. That'll do that. It's all right. You should get it in. I don't know. Who cares?
Who cares?
And then someone's gone, I know we haven't got a script, but let's put everyone from horror into it.
In one scene, and probably pay them a lot more than anybody else in the film.
Yeah,
but that is it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't hate it as a movie. I think it's a fun movie.
Well, it's watchable.
It's watchable. If you're looking for a Halloween anthology movie that you haven't seen already, I would check it out.
Yep.
It's got a lot of those segments, or just check out the individual segments we've talked about that we like.
Yeah, you can always just fast forward the bits.
Exactly. Yeah. You could probably there's a scene skip, more like a segment skip rather. They probably just skip the segments, but there's a lot of fun to be had there if you're up for that sort of thing. But I think it is time to move on to part 2. So we're going to talk about trick or treat. Trick or treat. Trick or treat.
Oh, trick or treat. Ooh, I'll give you the trick. And a treat.
Ooh, suck on me candy apple.
I've put a potato in your bag.
That's a treat.
That's your treat for when you get your
home. So this one's got a few less segments, but it interweaves and interconnects a bit more. Kind of like a Sin City type movie.
This is a film.
Yeah, this is a full film.
Yeah.
Again, same writer, same director, unlike the ones we've just talked about in Tales of Halloween, where they're all individual segments and stories by different directors, different writers, different actors. But this is a more kind of... It's more streamlined for the most part,
It's more linear.
It is more linear.
But without...
It's still non-linear, but it's more... I know what you mean.
It's got a through...
There's a through, there's a thread.
There's a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah, and again, those little clues and things are throughout. So you'll see Sam, talk about Sam in a minute, but there's enough clues that, unlike maybe Tales of Halloween that forget to put in some of the clues in some of the segments, these clues are all the way through.
From the beginning.
Yeah, and they're all interlinked, and it does, in a way, it's quite interesting because it doesn't have a set segment. There's not it does. It has set segments, but even within those segments, there's still kind of interweaving. The other stories are still kind of...
the other stories happening.
You can, and you feel like the momentum of all the stories are moving forward, they're moving on, and they are all connected, and they do feel... It feels kind of... How did I describe it? It feels genuinely part of the same town. Like, we might not feel that in Tales of Halloween, because obviously shot different places, shot different areas, shot with different directors.
This is all the same street.
Yeah. Every time. It's like the same kind of...
the same street, I think. Well, it is.
Yeah.
It is the same streets, as we find out going through the film.
We do.
And even if nothing else, it was just Sam who connected it all.
Yeah. He just turns up and, people...
he's
like the crypt keeper, isn't he?
People probably know the character of Sam anyway, even if they've never seen the film.
I mean, I've seen the character of Sam, like, way before I knew this film existed. Way before I knew his name. That character, that image of the sackcloth kid, popped up everywhere. Yeah. Like, everywhere.
It's a great character with his little half-bitten...
Yeah, his little thing.
Pumpkin razor, lolly.
Yeah, and the razor blade in the candy and stuff like that. Brilliant. So Sam is basically the sackcloth kind of pajama wearing, short kind of.
So he's basically an orange onesie.
Yeah, type thing.
Wearing an orange old school onesie.
And
with a sack head.
And we do see later on the sack is removed. And
you see his true being.
You see his true face, and he's basically
Spirit of Halloween.
The Spirit of Halloween. So Sam Hain, and he's a pumpkin-headed little. It's kind of like a skull, yet a pumpkin. So it's got the kind of hollowed eyes.
It reminds me of the Alien.
Oh God, from Resurrection. Yeah. It's kind of got the hollow eyes and the nose and the skull.
When it screams at the end.
Yeah, and then it gets
the little humor
out the little hole.
Yeah. Let's not go into that.
That's for another time.
It still hurts my feelings.
But again, let's. So I think we've talked about it in general. Let's start with the first segment, I think. So, first segment, it's kind of an introductory segment. It's got Leslie Bibb from Iron Man and a few other things, Talladega Nights.
So one thing about this film is the cast is great.
It's a strong cast. It's a really, really strong cast. And they're utilised well.
Yes.
And it's not like, again, Tales of Halloween where they got all these horror giants. Oh, hello, we're at a party. We're not going to do anything scary. It is genuinely... They have hired the right people for the right roles. So Leslie Bibb and her husband are coming back. It's the end of Halloween night. They're going to go to bed.
Well, it's not the end of Halloween night.
Yes.
It's the end of She Hates Halloween.
Yes.
So she's wanted to be the end.
Night.
Yes.
The end of her night.
And he's saying, no, you've got to leave them out. You've got to leave everything out.
Yeah, he's saying that, you've got to leave it out for the spirits of the dead and all that sort of stuff. And
which is
you must respect them.
This is the whole thing of the film, is it's all about the rules of Halloween.
Yes, exactly.
And the spirits of Halloween being
You've got to respect it, or if you don't, things will happen.
So she blows the pumpkin out.
She does.
And her husband, basically to get at her husband, really.
Yeah.
I think they might, if I'm right, they're like having an argument, aren't they?
Yeah, he's like, no. And then eventually she's like, right, he's like, I'm not going to take all this down. I respect it. He goes to bed and he's like, do you want to have a quickie? She's like, you put the tape on. I quite like the tape's like National Geographic or Nature Show or something. And she puts it in, it's a porno. I quite like that. And she's taking it all down and it's, there's all these kind of, she's spooking herself a little bit and there's stuff going on. And then
it's got some of those old tropes, hasn't it? Where it's like there's the cloth hanging on the dummy and she's pulling it slowly, and you're thinking there's got to be something under there.
Yeah, exactly. All those kind of cool little tropes, and she sees like somebody scurrying about and running around, and then she is attacked.
Yes.
Basically, and murdered.
Taken right out.
And then the husband wakes up, he fell asleep.
All you see is she falls into the trick-or-treaters covered in the cloth.
Yeah, that's
because they're fighting underneath the cloth,
and they're watching her.
And then you just see blood go inside
the
cloth.
And she watches the kid from over the road as well, doesn't she? She sees the kid over the road and is like... And then he's just staring at her, and then the car comes and picks him up. So there's all those kind of cutaways and those kind of fake scares, all those fake outs. And she's murdered, and then he comes out and she's hung up like a scarecrow, isn't she, kind of thing.
Yes.
And that's the first
just
segment.
a head on the post.
And it's quite nice. I think it's quite a strong introductional segment because it's just like, it gets you in the mood.
Yes.
Gets you kind of, you don't need to know that much about these characters because it's just, it is what it is.
It's going to be a proper horror film.
And you're like, that is quite distinct. I think she's kind of like a scarecrow and she's got the lights and is there something else? I can't remember the image.
If I remember, she had half her head cut off.
Maybe.
She's almost like impaled on the
kind of pole. On the pole. Yeah, like a scarecrow thing. And that, obviously that fits in with the Halloween stuff as well. I think it's a strong, again, not much kind of plot to it. It's not much kind of You find out about
just realising
characters.
here that Sam isn't a nice, cute little kid.
And you're going to see a lot more of it. Kind of introduces Sam in a quick and easy way, and then the character develops over the film. You know, we see more and more of him. We see him appear in every story in some form. But yeah, I think that's a really cool,
great opening.
So, what is the next segment, Dan?
Remember?
Can't remember. Let's have a look.
Is it the college girls?
I believe,
or is it the high school principal fella?
It is the principal. That's right.
Because this is the thing about this one is
it's hard to tell.
It's not like the other one where it's 10 separate films in a row kind of thing.
Yeah.
This one is, you kind of get
it's all
into
interweaving,
this whole story, so you'll see people, and then it's
so you'll see a bit. Yeah, you'll see a bit
of
one story, like you'll see people traveling, and then you'll cut back to another story, and it's sort of like because there's that kind of almost like a sub story of the kind of vampire character, which ties into another story, but you think that's another separate story, but actually not. It's part of another story that's already ongoing. So it is kind of, it does throw you some kind of, again, like curveballs, so to speak, in the narrative. But again, it's all kind of connected, and you'll see certain characters you've seen earlier, like you see the couple from the beginning of the film in another segment, again, because it's non-linear. You know, we don't know. To be honest, the start segment isn't the start of the Halloween night. You know, it's not it's not the first segment, technically. I think if you want to look these up, I don't know if Tales of Halloween has a correct. I think with Tales of Halloween, you can sort of tell when it's supposed to occur in the night. According to
and I don't think it matters either.
No, I don't think it really matters for that. But if you wanted to watch it linearly, some people are like that. They want to watch stuff the right way through, just because their brains can't handle it. But yeah, I think if you watch the
right way through is the way it was shown on the screen in the first place.
yes, basically. But there's Night of the Living Dead is on, and you're supposed to kind of follow it. If you know that film very well, like I do, you can see the timeline. But with this, again, there's enough clues to say sort of where you should go. But I'm sure there's guides online if you want to do it that way. But what's the point? It's too much effort.
It probably wouldn't make sense either.
Exactly. Yeah, there'll probably be some holes somewhere. Let's talk about the principal, though. The principal. Principal. So this is it Dylan Baker?
Yeah, and this goes back to the night thing he raised hell with the.
No, Billy raised hell.
The house nobody knocks at.
Exactly. It's not. There's no decorations. You don't go over. This is stay away. Stay right away.
But he's got like a pot with take one candy. He's that guy. Yeah. He's got like the pot with take one candy on, and is it Charlie the kid?
Yeah, the kid at the start.
Yeah. So he comes up to the. See, this is where I'm getting confused already. Thinking, is this further towards the end of the film that Charlie appears?
So
the little fat kid.
Yeah. So he's the kid from Bad Santa. No, it is. That happens now. This bit, That happens right at this point
because he's another kid who's disobeying the rules of Halloween. He's kicking all the pumpkins in as he's walking the street.
That is him, isn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't realise that was him.
He's stamping on them. He's stamping on all the pumpkins. He's a little shit.
Yeah, he's a basic.
And you can see he's a little shit. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he is.
Because you just do want to slap him. And so he goes in and it says like take one candy, and he takes them all.
Yeah, and he's
fatty. And he's stuffing them in his face.
Yeah, he's sat outside his house as well, isn't he? Just like chuffing away.
Because he comes out, doesn't he? And catches him at it and goes, Charlie, boy.
Charlie. And he's like, you're a naughty kid, and he's like, da-da-da-da-da, and he's doing all this.
And then he starts like coughing, choking.
Yeah, and he starts, and they're like, this is a really violent death, like a really horrible, disgusting death, where it's just, he starts just violently throwing up. There's blood, and there's chocolate, and there's all this sort of sticky, syrupy sort of shit comes out.
And his teacher's like,
Yeah, and he's like, and he seems like what's really nice is a very jovial, very nice, very pleasant guy.
He's a headmaster.
Yeah, he's a headmaster.
Like, hi kids.
It's like, now Charlie, you don't want to be doing that because that's against the rules, and all that. And he's got this kind of very warm and likable presence about him, but. So does he poison the candy?
He's a serial killer.
Or does he put razors in it or something like that? And he swallows the kind of, and that's why he starts chucking up. And then the kid just fucking dies. Yeah. Like it's very,
there's no messing.
Yeah, there's no messing about in this movie. The kid just straight up fucking dies. And you don't get that a lot in that risk in horror movies. Like usually you get the kind of like Danielle Harris who'll be like, the kid will survive at the end, of the
that used to be a thing. I don't know whether it was an actual thing, but it was almost like they weren't allowed to kill kids in films.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, Michael Myers likes killing dogs. He loves killing dogs. So,
I don't know which ones I prefer.
But yeah, I like movies that have the balls to kill kids. It sounds really horrible. But I think because I want to feel like everybody is, it could be a victim, a potential victim. I like that kind of, like watching a Game of Thrones episode, you don't know who's going to die. Yeah. That makes it all the more exciting and all the more, interesting. You don't know which way this is going to turn out.
And plus the fact you really do want this kid to die.
Yeah, he's a little shit, yeah. Fair enough. And I think there's moments, and I think that's the fun thing about horror films is those characters where you're either so annoying or you're just a horrible fucker and want you to die.
I just realised actually this film does have a lot of kid death in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, a lot of kids die.
It just popped into my head. Yeah, so quite a few children meet their demise.
Meet their end. He starts kind of, and
so he's burying him in the garden.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and his neighbour comes out.
Who's this grouchy old? It's Brian Cox. Brian Cox. Yeah, it's one of his
What are you doing in the garden? And he's like, oh, and he's like trying to hide.
He's covered in blood as well. He's got all the blood because he's thrown up all his blood on him, and he's like covering up the blood. Like, yeah, it's fine. He's ditching into the grave. He's like, septic tanks running. Yeah, and he's like, right, get it sorted, you son of a bitch. It's brilliant. I love Brian Cox. Amazing. There are no answers that way, Wolverine. I love that. Yes, he's great, and we're going to talk about him later, a little later on. And then he goes in, and his son keeps like, let's do the pumpkin, let's do this. And he's being really irritating. The dad's trying to get rid of this. It becomes like a farcical black comedy. Yeah. He's trying to hide this body. And everyone's like, Dad. He's like, yeah. And it's just and he's just getting more and more frustrated because he can't hide this body. It's kind of like a Weekend at Bernie's type thing. He's just trying to conceal this body. And it's really quite funny and quite humorous. And again, you're not with him, but it takes quite a dark turn, even more so that he starts getting really mad at his son and he starts feeling like murderous thoughts towards his son. Yeah. And he's picking up this big butcher's knife and stuff. And you're like,
in the basement.
And you're like, oh God, I don't think I want to see that. Like the fat kid, chucking up I could deal with. Yeah. Even that was disturbing, but this is like a whole new level of disturbing, taking a butcher's knife to your son in the basement. Yeah. Twist is,
he's actually kind of in on it, isn't
he?
So they basically got the fat kid's head on him. The fat kid's head is the pumpkin.
Yeah.
He's going, let's start with the eyes.
Yeah. And that's what he keeps talking. He's like, can I have the candy? Can I have the ice cream? Can I have this? And he's like, yeah, you stupid little shit. And then, and they start kind of, doing the jack-o'-lantern.
Which makes you think they do it every year.
Exactly. It's a Halloween tradition.
Definitely not a first.
No, it's definitely not.
That's for sure.
But yeah, so it's again another cool little dark twisted tale. And that's what I like about a lot of these kind of stories in both films is they do have like nice unique twists or kind of plays on the familiar trope. Mm-hmm. I think that's what's really, really good and really helps these sell these stories.
And again, throughout, performances are all spot on.
Yeah, strong performances.
Even
like this one from what, like more so than Tales of Halloween, which is a fairly recent film. This has become a kind of annual classic to watch. Yeah. This is up there with Halloween or Halloween 3.
And you'd think this was the newer film.
Yeah. You would?
Between the two.
I would definitely, because there's a dated quality about Tales of Halloween. It's not a bad thing, because it is very much kitsch, and it is playing up to those 80s, 70s.
It's like the low-budget version of this.
I think because we were saying, I think this seems crowdfunded. Yeah. Tales of Halloween seems crowdfunded, and this one definitely feels like it has a decent budget and it has an
aesthetic.
Yeah, a vision. Yeah. It has a vision behind it, and I don't think Tales of Halloween has a strong vision with all these elements tied together.
They just wanted to make an anthology horror film,
and that's not a bad thing.
And let different directors have a go.
Yeah, definitely.
I might not do horror.
No, fair enough. I think that's fair enough. What is the next segment? I believe it was the...
Was it the prank or the... I think the girls, is it? This one?
It is the school bus massacre revisited.
Yes. So this is
like Brideshead, yeah.
This is, again, little shit kids playing a prank on a pure... What is an idiot savant?
Yeah, that's I think that's the term they use in So someone maybe on the spectrum or something like that.
So basically, it's a story about these horrible bullying kids who are going to play a prank on this girl about taking her to where the a bus was apparently, one of these tales, like an urban legend style thing. The bus went off the cliff with all the kids in it, and everyone died, and this is where they are.
And they were also like mentally disabled kids as well. Yes. So this kind of ties in with this.
They're just being horrible to this girl for no reason,
basically.
really.
And I think that's why they choose. That's why they say these mentally disabled kids, because you are also mentally disabled.
And one of the older. I think he's probably the oldest lad in it.
Yeah,
I think he likes the girl, so he doesn't really want to be involved.
No.
You get that kind of, the usual in these kind of stories where there's always one kid you'd think,
you're all right, you're okay.
So they take her down into this pit of where the bus went.
It's like a quarry or something, isn't it? Yeah.
And they start giving apparently putting their lights into the water.
Oh yeah, again, this is about the rules. This is about the rules. They're like, we have to honour the dead, we have to do this, so we throw these lights in or whatever we do to respect that and again, it's all about the rules. We keep kind of coming back to the rules. And I really quite like that.
And this is like a lift. You've got to get a lift down a cliffside to get to it. So there's
no way out.
Yeah.
And the lift's pretty bad. It's old school. Yeah. It's like it's rickety. No one's used it in years.
Women's lingerie.
Women's lingerie. But yeah, so they get down there, and the girl's like unsure, and but she's a lovely girl. Like she wants everyone to like her.
Wants to be nice.
And she had all these pumpkins in her house and everything, and
she's really into Halloween.
Yeah, she's really into Halloween. This is her thing, and she's the kid. She's the kid who looks exactly like the same as the one in Tales of Halloween with the witch's outfit and the glasses and the dark hair. She follows them because she wants to have friends. It's a genuine and the kind of the nicest girl there. All of a sudden, like you see her kind of slowly but surely become the absolute bitch of this story. Like she slowly is like, let's get this girl, let's do this, and we've got to do this, and we've got to celebrate Halloween and respect the dead and all this, and then all of a sudden it just totally flips, and it turns out that it was just a trick to scare this young girl, this poor girl, and they're like, we're zombies, we're the kids from the bus, because the story goes that the teacher, the bus driver who had been hired by the parents to drive this bus off a cliff. Chain them all. The children had become a burden on their parents because they were mentally handicapped, and he, and accidentally ends up. It looks like he ends up dying, but I think he climbs out, doesn't he? At the end, he climbs out, but they supposedly drown.
See, now this is where when you're thinking back on it, I should have watched it. Like to this morning because this story is everything's shown later on. You don't find out what happened to the kids now. So it's still that urban legend tale. You don't really know what happened to them. But later on you find out, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
And I'm getting mixed up thinking...
It is hard.
You find that now, but no, you don't. You find out later.
Yeah, it's true. It's very higgledy-piggledy. It's hard to talk about this movie because it is...
Because you start giving away the end before you've
begun, but then it's the same with all the other kind of stories as well. Because we've already had the introduction of another tale before this has really happened. But this is like again, these are as solid as a segment as you can get. Like
because haven't the three? I keep mentioning these three, the girls.
Yeah, they've turned up. They've been in it, haven't they? Yeah, they've turned up prior to this. Like there's a segment. I think it's just after the intro.
Has the vampire bit been in it yet?
I believe so. Yeah, I think we start seeing
because it's not even a segment.
Exactly, it's not even a segment.
It's the girl. It's the girl from a later segment with this vampire character.
It throws you, but if you watch it a few times, you can go, oh yeah, so she does that before that, and then that happens, and this goes here, but this is also happening at the same time as this is happening, and they're in the background, and they're doing this, and he's kicking the pumpkins. Because I didn't realize it was him kicking the pumpkins until you just said.
Because that vampire fella has basically has claimed a victim, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
And then meets these three girls.
That's right. Don't worry, we'll get onto the girls. Yes. But yeah, so then the
girls.
Yeah, we'll get to
my favourite part of the film.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The girls.
The girls. But let's finish off with the bus segment, just before we go on.
I was just trying to get the timeline straight.
Mate, don't even bother. You have to watch it. I'd have to watch it again to make it absolutely airtight.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got that. So they're in, so they scare this girl, they dress up as these like zombie kids and they're like, it was just a joke, but then all of a sudden they start like, one by one they start.
It's down as well, it's down in like the misty, it's all
the bog.
Foggy, misty bog, so you can't see them, they're off in the distance.
You can see the school buses there kind of floating. floated up from the bottom of the bog or what have you. And they start getting pulled. And then there's this one kid, it almost makes it to the lift.
Yeah.
And the girl, the witch, the kid they were bullying gets there and she's like, fuck you, and goes up in the lift and leaves them all to die.
And at the top of the lift, you see little Sam watching on.
Yeah. And she just walks
Just
past
sat
him.
there watching, going...
Yeah. I like Halloween.
But he likes her because she follows all the rules. And loves Halloween herself.
Exactly. So if you follow the rules, you're safe. Yeah. So there you go. All these zombie kids come, these ghosts or ghouls or whatever you want to call them, kids come and take their revenge on these people for making fun of them effectively. Exactly. And another child quite like them. Yeah. So, so let's move on to the girls then. Your favourite girls.
Oh, I do like them, the girls.
Go on.
It's basically Red Riding Hood, isn't it?
Yeah.
The tale of Red Riding Hood.
It is.
The twist.
It is. Yeah, quite a good twist.
So the preppy mean girls, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're all super horny as well. Like they're constantly talking about having sex.
Anna Paquin is basically dressed as Red Riding Hood for Red Riding Hood for a Halloween
Red Dead Redemption.
She's one of those, sexy Riding Hoods. The Halloween costumes that you sell in Smithies.
Yeah, and it's the
saucy Red Riding Hood.
Saucy Red Riding Hood. Yeah, but it's Red Riding Roughshod.
And she's clearly they're talking to her about you've got to get your first time and all this. You've got to make your first time special. And then she bumps into this Dracula dude.
Yeah,
kind of like, oh, come on then.
Yeah. So they're all trying to get... They're all basically trying to get laid, aren't they? So, seemingly. They're all
going to a Halloween party, and that's essentially what they're talking about is this girl's first time, and she's like, oh no, I want my first time to be special, and all this. And they're like, no, just get it. Anyway, you can. Whoever it is. Stick it in.
And there's a guy they point out, and he's like dressed as a giant baby, and apparently that guy is the giant baby in 13 Ghosts.
All right.
That's the same actor who plays the giant baby, so I thought that was quite a nice...
There's a film I'll have to watch it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. But yeah, apparently that's him, but she's like, take anything you can.
But this is the most horror segment.
Yeah, this is, most disturbing, most kind of body horror, most genuinely kind of... And a great twist. It comes out of absolutely nowhere. There's a few little subtle
You can kind of guess it's coming because it's Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, there's a few subtle hints here and there, but genuinely, there's a vampire guy who's already claimed a victim, goes for this girl, and she's like, I found somebody. It looks like she's attacked. It looks like she's killed by the vampire. And then she turns up with him, and he's like, he's all tied up and like beaten up. And they take the mask off, and it turns out to be the principal. He's back. They remove his teeth. He's not even a vampire. He's not really a vampire. And
you wouldn't see that coming either.
Nah.
You don't expect this.
I honestly couldn't, because he's got contact lenses in as well, so you can't really, and a full face.
You just realise how much of a horrible human being this guy really is, don't you? Yeah,
he just keeps
going. Everything wrong with him.
And he's a principal, so he must be a piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, of course. No offence to any principals out there.
No principals. We love all your principals.
Keep whistling.
But so they're in these woods with the campfire. So it's kind of like an orgy, kind of a Halloween orgy.
It's a Lost Boys.
Yeah, kind of.
Beach fire orgy.
Yeah, kind of.
And then essentially it turns into that. The first time isn't the first time, it's basically her first kill, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she turns into a bit of a dog.
Yeah, she's a real bitch. All of a sudden, all these kind of guys are piled up, and they're all like, oh, why? What's going on? Yeah. And it turns out that these women, these very horny, quote unquote horny women,
hot women,
are all werewolves.
Yes.
And this is their kill. So as a pack, they've hunted, and they've got all these guys, and they're literally, like they said, they've just picked up any horny guy they can, and just to kill them. And the transformation scenes are incredible. Yeah, and it's like they're tearing off their skin, and underneath there is the kind of werewolf fur.
Yeah, really.
And it's all like mostly practical as well, for the most part. I'd like
to see a werewolf film with this level of transformation in it again.
It was good, and it's the only real shame is it doesn't go on as long as I would like to see more. Yeah. But they're proper tearing at their skin, and things are coming off, and there's I've seen skin torn off in werewolf transformations, but I've never seen it as effective as in this movie. Really? And again, I'm always a lover of practical effects. Yeah. Anywhere I can find it, I'll get them. And this is one of the best looking segments, even if it's a minute minute and a half of transformation.
Yeah, spot on.
It's some of the best stuff. Best werewolf transformation you've ever seen. And it's not even a werewolf movie.
No.
You know, it's not a straight up werewolf movie. There's werewolf elements.
You're not even expecting it to be werewolves,
exactly. It's a twist.
Because there's no other, like...
Hints
to like, vampire, werewolves, you know, the usual things you'd think of for horror films.
Yeah, exactly.
There's none of that in it. It's like mainly, it's like a slasher film.
Yeah, it's more slash. There's more slasher.
It's like urban horror, like the weirdo next door type.
Yeah,
thing.
no, I think you're right.
And then all of a sudden,
these
this
classic
kind of like
horror elements come through.
Yeah.
But again, it's not your regular classic horror elements. It's an amazing modern spin.
Yeah, I think it makes it
all
more
those
powerful
tropes
for that reason.
Yeah, because you're not expecting it comes out of the total blue. It's not like you're like, oh, here comes the twist. It's like, oh shit, oh, amazing. And
because you do think she's a sweet innocent girl, and this vampire dude's got her.
Yeah, and you're like,
because you think he's going to be the character, don't you?
Yeah, you think it's
going to go
and you think that's going to be an element. You think that's going to be a full story. You think that's going to be
because he's like the
shady.
element. He's like a serial killer type, isn't he? You know,
just like dressed as a vampire for funsies.
It's almost like a Phantom of the Opera style vampire. Isn't
yeah, a little bit. It's got a bit of that kind of element.
It's like it reminds me of a Gallo film, you know, with the Italian style.
Yeah, they've got the mask, leather gloves, big knife, all that sort of stuff.
Dead red blood. Really red blood.
Well, let's talk about the last segment, which is Meet Sam.
Meet Sam.
Meet Sam. So we go back to the principal's neighbour.
I remember this section as the mean old bastard.
Okay, we can. I mean, I found a list online, and that's what they called it. So I'm like, I'll go with that.
Because that is literally what it is.
A mean old bastard.
He's a right miserable.
So Brian Cox plays. I think it's Mr. Krieg.
I think he's me in about Krieg.
Yeah,
I think he's me in about 2 years.
Something like that. But he's grouchy. He's not answering the door. He's trying to watch some TV with his dog. You know.
He's always in his he looks like
pajamas.
He lives in his pajamas.
Pretty much slippers and
retired old fart.
Yeah, basically, and he's just grouchy and mean and doesn't like kids, doesn't want to talk to. And there's a reason for that. But I
wonder what it is.
And I think he answers the door for a trick or treater, or he finds. Sam somehow gets into the house, I believe. I can't really remember.
I think he's trick or treating.
Yeah,
I think he knocks,
and he doesn't. Yeah, he keeps knocking or something, or he knocks and he comes into the house somehow. And basically, it's a cat and mouse game. And what's quite cool about Sam is that there's all these kind of classic Halloween things like the sweets and things like that. He's slipping on the not marbles, but kind of like gobstoppers and stuff. He falls over, hurts himself.
I think is this the section as well where he answers the door to a few trick or treaters, doesn't he? And you see Sam going into the woman. You see the woman blowing out the.
That's correct. So you see that after this segment. This segment happens, then it's like later that night.
See, it's
hard to so basically, the start of this segment it goes earlier this night, and at the end of that segment it goes later this night, and you see him kind of basically Mr. I think
I should have watched this sooner, shouldn't I? Really,
don't worry. I need to watch it again as well.
Such preparation for this.
It's hard though. It's hard to keep track of this particular film because it's so well weaved together. Yeah. It's this fantastic tapestry of modern kind of anthology horror, which you don't really see that much of anymore. And like we see, it's loads of different directors and different things. But yeah, and this section is basically just Sam in the house trying to kill Mr. Krieg. And what I quite like is, I mean, it's absolutely brutal as well. The fight scenes and and he's like crawling all over him, and Mr. Krieg will get the better of him. It's very much a kind of.
And that's when you see his true face.
And Mr. Krieg gets the shotgun, manages to get a shotgun and blasts Sam in the head.
Yeah,
and like all the kind of pumpkin bits and seeds come out. It's brilliant. And then all of a sudden it kind of just like. Comes back together. It's like T-1000 but a pumpkin, and he attacks again. And he's got like candy with like a Stanley knife in it. And
he's got obviously his lollipop.
Yeah, that's the best thing.
Is a pumpkin lollipop.
Yeah,
and he bites it with his little fangy face, and it becomes like a big sharp knife. Then,
it's like razor sharp. It's like. But I like that after all this kind of it's an amazing like sequence, like battle or chase or whatever you call it. And it's a lot of, and there's all these he has all these kind of elements of Halloween that he uses again. It's like his weapons.
Yeah.
It's like you have like Freddy and Jason. They all have their kind of tropes and their weapons and what they do. And he's kind of using these sweets, but they're like like some like Werther's Originals type sweet. There's kind of hard boiled stuff, and they're kind of like razor sharp and things like that. And I really kind of got into that. I really dug it. I think Sam is one of the better modern horror creations, much like Art the Clown that you were talking about. I think Sam is quite iconic as a character.
And as I said before, even people who haven't seen the film, I've got like Sam stickers and badges.
You've seen him. Or
tattoos even.
You have seen that character. If you type in Sam Trick or Treat, you will have seen that image somewhere in your life, online.
NECA toys, toy range. Everything.
You name it, it's somewhere. It's in the social...
your child's bedroom.
It's in the social consciousness now. So, much like characters like Superman or Spider-Man, Batman, he's taken on a life of its own.
Yeah.
We know what Sam would do in certain situations. We know what Jason would do. If teenagers are having premarital sex and smoking weed, we know exactly what he's going to do. And that's the thing. These characters are bigger than us. So they're bigger than the fans and bigger than the films and the filmmakers.
And he's so cute.
Yeah, he's cute. He's a cute, sweet guy. And he will cut you to pieces though if you mess with him and don't follow the rules. So after this segment, Sam actually tricks him in a way, or treats him and doesn't actually kill him, which I think is quite interesting that he kind of left him. And we kind of find out why, because it looks like he's going to stab him with I think it's a Stanley knife. But he picks up some chocolate. I think it's called Carpenter or something. Or is that, that might be Tales of Halloween, but there's some reference to John Carpenter, as there always is. But he he takes the candy, because all he wanted to do was, it looks like he wants to kill him, but actually he just wants the candy.
I think Carpenter was from Sweet Tooth, wasn't it?
Oh, that was it. Sorry. No, you're right. You are right. There might be something else, some other reference.
Yeah, there'll be something.
There'll be some reference in Trick or Treat that's to John Carpenter. There's no doubt in my mind.
The kid in the section where they come home and they trick or treaters stop there waiting for the car. That's Michael Myers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So after that he survives. Mr. Creek survives, and then we see him later and he's bandaged up, and the kid's like, "Nice mummy costume." And he's looking, and he looks out and he kind of scans up and down the street, and we see Sam over the road.
Yes.
And he kind of nods at Sam. He's like, "I understand now. I get it." And then we see Sam go into the house from the couple at the start, because she's like, and she's like not following the rules, and Sam's like, "Right, well, you're going to die." Yeah. And then we see the kids were trick-or-treating at the start. We see the kid kicking the pumpkins. We see all these kind of elements, and the cheerleader girls. See all the elements of the film. We've seen these stories played out. This is before all this stuff happened. Overall.
And when he's fighting, that's a bit as well, when earlier in the segment with the teacher, you see the old guy at the window.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's he kind of looking at? And then you realise in the fight scene, he's actually getting...
Yeah, he's trying to get... He's like, so the principal sees him and he's like, help me, call the police. And he's like, fuck you, told me fuck you, so fuck you. And then he goes in the house and just murders children. As
you do on Halloween.
As you do, but so final thoughts on the film?
Spot on.
Great.
It is a great...
It's a blast.
Yeah, it's enjoyable from beginning to end. There's no saggy bits.
No saggy bits.
Yeah, it's just really, it's a proper horror film.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good.
It's got a properly written.
Yeah.
It's got the beginning,
middle, end. And not in that order.
No. but it makes sense.
But it makes sense altogether.
There's no drips.
So before we decide on which one is the best...
yes, it's a hard decision.
I know, it's a hard decision to make. There's a few listener comments that I want to shout out to. So Annette Wantling on Facebook.
Hello, Annette.
Hello, Annette. Basically is saying, oh my God, I've lost it. Where's it going?
Is that what she said? That's really...
She said, I've lost it. Where am I? Who am I? So she says, I'm a big fan of horror anthologies, especially the Amicus ones, such as From Beyond the Grave and The House That Dripped Blood. Mm-hmm. I also have Dead of Night, 1945, and Trick or Treat on regular rotation during the autumn-winter period. I really appreciate the likes of the League of Gentlemen's Christmas episodes.
Yes.
They were very much steeped in the 70s horror tradition. And Mark Gatius's Crooked House, which I've not seen. But I hear that's good.
Anything those guys do is gold.
I love the League of Gentlemen. Dan Keatis on Twitter, so it's at DL Keatis. I think VHS. I've asked about horror anthologies, basically. So I said, which ones do you like? Yeah. So I think VHS is an excellent, if uneven, horror anthology.
Yes. That's a little bit like Tales of Halloween.
Yeah. And I know for a fact that does have a segment that is set on Halloween as well. And again...
And many sequels since.
Yes, very much so.
Isn't it? VHS 3 out now.
That's correct. 20th Century Geek Pod, so that's at 20th Century Geek, said, of the two, so the ones we're comparing today, Trick or Treat is my favourite. Great stories, and Sam the Pumpkinhead Child is awesome.
Yes.
So thank you very much for that.
We agree.
So we are going to decide in the last few minutes of this podcast which one is best. So I like to judge it on 5 categories. Writing, acting, music, cinematography, and direction. Okay. Now, obviously, the Trick or Treat's going to probably have some slight advantage being one director, one writer, and everything. But that's the way it is. That's the way it's fallen. So let's talk about the writing. So let's talk about Tales of Halloween. What do you think to the writing of? You can talk about the segments themselves, or you can talk about overall.
Overall, obviously, because they've had to write the overall narrative for how they were going to piece these together. So it's basically 0. I just don't. It's like 2 guys in a pub have gone, I've got 10 films there, I don't know what I'm going to do. And they said, oh, I don't know, just get like a DJ to make
comments.
Yeah, comments at the beginning. And it's like,
spooky Halloween.
Hey, it's Halloween night, everyone.
And the thing is about those comments, they're great. And I love Adrienne Barbeau.
Spot on.
I talked about her. She was in the Swamp Thing TV show.
Yeah,
she made a cameo in that, which I loved. And I think she's a fantastic talent.
Yeah.
And I love her as a
instantly recognisable.
Yeah, instantly recognisable voice. She was Catwoman in Batman the Animated Series as well.
Yeah.
She's got an amazing voice. But they're not specific enough.
No.
They need to be more specific, like she needs to be reporting on something that's just happened or something that's going to happen in another segment.
There's another film similar to these where I'm sure it's like Shatner or someone is a DJ in it doing the
I think you're
nighttime.
Thinking Christmas Horror Story or
something like
Christmas Horror something.
Yeah, so it's not like it's an anthology film.
Yeah.
It's not a
Again,
Halloween
yeah,
one.
it is, but it's Christmas.
But that makes more sense because he is
reporting on
these things happening, like the news stories kind of thing, you know.
And that would make more sense. But she's basically saying very generic things about Halloween, and that's just peppered throughout.
There's just no throughput to the film, and the writing is up and down.
Yeah, I mean, some of the, like we said, some of the segments are a lot stronger.
You can't really say writing on this one because
it's hard.
It's 10 different films.
It is really hard. Again, some of the writing in those segments is very strong. Yeah. But again, there's no real through line.
So probably the one with the most writing in it is the kidnap storyline.
Yeah.
That's like
a lot of dialogue.
That's a 2-parter, just 2 guys in a van.
It's kind of buddy comedy type thing. Yeah.
That's got the most writing in it and the most scene chewing acting.
Yeah, definitely.
So it kind of that's probably for writing wise.
Mistake,
the best one.
It's tricky. I agree with you. I think Trick or Treat is...
And Ding Dong as well.
And Ding Dong, yeah.
That's great.
Ding Dong is probably my... Yeah, for dialogue and story, I think that's probably the best written one for me. Yeah, a lot of the other ones are basically like cheerleader runs down a street, that type of thing. So there's not that much dialogue and writing per se. But yeah, I agree with you. I think for me, Trick or Treat's going to get the win because it's just more of a streamlined film.
Yeah.
There's more through line. There's more, it has pace. It has, you can notice these details more. Like we said, in Tales of Halloween, they're not as present throughout.
It's a clever story arc. While it's been a twist.
It's well written.
It's like Memento for a horror anthology.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's its strength, I think, as well. Like, all the elements on their own would have been great. All the segments on their own in Trick or Treat would have been amazing.
Yeah.
However, together and kind of weaved through, in a non-linear fashion, it's almost like more of a loop, I think. It's more like like a continuous loop, if you will. For me, easily, Trick or Treat
easy win.
Takes the win for writing. So next is acting.
Trick or Treat.
Why?
There's some pure cheese in that Tales of Halloween.
There is some silly stuff.
There is some good. Actually, does anyone really get a chance to act in it?
I think the witch in Ding Dong really goes through. She goes through a lot.
She's great. She's been in. She directed.
Yeah. Did she direct it?
She directed. I don't think she directed that. But
she's brilliant. She directed. Yeah.
What's the she's Mother, was it?
Oh, was that her?
She just directed Darling.
Okay, cool.
Recently. But she's one of those faces as well that you kind of recognise.
Yeah, she's a real talent. She's a real talent. And just trying to think of the other kind of strong acting performances in it.
I think that's about it.
In Tales of Halloween. Not really. Let me just go through the segments so I know. Because I need a bit more time.
And the kid in the first in Sweet Tooth's good.
Yeah, he is good.
The lad.
Yeah.
And actually, the acting in that's quite good.
I think the killer kids in Trick were pretty good.
Yeah.
I quite like that, the kind of cold stuff.
And I think
but everything else is not really.
The
agree,
one where he's the god. They're all quite good actors in that as well.
Which the demon,
the demon
one.
where he dresses up and
dresses up as a demon and has the revenge on burning his family. I think that's good as well. The female villain in that is really good. Actually, she's really good. Apart from that, I think you're right. I think the acting is not that strong throughout. Again,
but I think that's
Bad Seed. I think Bad Seed was okay because it was kind of like a straight cop drama. With the Killer Pumpkin.
Well, that's Neil Marshall, so you'd expect it.
I would expect some quality.
And I think
stuff.
the writing's better on that.
Yeah,
and I think the writing's
everything else
help.
Everything else is a bit.
It's very cheesy.
Yeah, it's very bitty. It's very here and there, and there might be one good performance in each one, maybe if you're lucky.
We sound like we're shitting on it. But no, it's a good. It's a good film.
In comparison, it's not as strong as the other one.
Yeah,
like
if you weren't comparing it to Trick or Treat, it's a good film.
It's a fun film. Like if this was just you and me talking about this, we'd have a blast. Yeah, it's not the best, but because we are comparing it, we have to, and that's the point of this podcast. Yes. And I think we're being fair with it. It's still fun, and I recommend watching it because there's fun to be had. So writing and acting. So point from you, point from me. So 2 points from you, 2 points from me. So going on to music. Mm-hmm. The Trick or Treat, I'd heard that music.
Yeah.
Again, I knew Sam existed, and I was aware of Sam, but I didn't know I'd know the music. Like that music, I don't know where I heard it. It might have been in a Halloween shop when they played that music. It could have been anywhere. It could have been on a video.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that music is iconic.
Yeah.
Like, I recognised it instantly. I went, I know this music. Or
it's like
if not,
Halloween.
If not, I've heard something very, 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 very similar in previous maybe Halloween movies, or it's got those kind of it brings to mind all those films that it's celebrating, all those kind of like Halloween 3, all those kind of trick or treat type style films that you all love growing up, and the music. It's not John Carpenter, but
it's a proper score, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a true score, and again, the problem with Tales of Halloween is it's so bitty, so they're going to have a different person on the music each and every segment, each and every time you're going to have different music and a different composer.
Yes,
and that is the weakness, unfortunately, because if these were all gangbusters, all 10 were classics, we wouldn't be having this problem.
No,
but they are not. And for me, the second I heard the theme, I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And I'm transported into this world, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to take on horror movies. Depend on good music. They are like,
it's a character, isn't it?
Yeah, with Halloween, when they first showed Halloween, they hadn't done the music yet, and people were like, "This is boring, shit, not got anything going for it." And he came back, did the whole weekend. John Carpenter did the music, brought it back, and people were screaming.
Yeah.
People were going insane for this movie. And that's how strong an element music is to horror movies. Mm-hmm. And Trick or Treat has that. Tales of Halloween does not.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
You agree, right?
Yes.
This might be a bit of a landslide, guys. Yeah. This rate.
Tales of Halloween's getting knocked off.
Sorry, Tales of Halloween. So again, I think it's the main issue is that one director, multiple directors. I think that's the main issue we're having.
It's a film versus 10 little shorts.
You're right. You're exactly right. Cinematography. How do we?
Yeah,
can you judge the cinematography?
Again, you can't really because it's, as I said before.
Maybe is this my fault? Have I chosen a film that we can't compare?
You can't really, because the only other one doing it is like the likes of VHS, which you mentioned before.
Yeah.
Which is it'd have the same problem.
Yeah.
Anything that's an anthology.
Yeah, with different talent behind the segments.
And like so many different segments. If this is only had if they'd taken the 5 not very
strongest,
good ones and put the 5 strongest on this, it'd be a different
you're right.
story.
You are absolutely right. And again, they would be a bit more balanced as well, because they're basically 5 segments in Trick or Treat.
They're just trying to throw in.
Yeah, they're just going
10.
Here's more. We're giving you more, and
it felt like that.
Yeah.
When you're watching it, there is a bit where you go, oh, you know what?
We didn't need this.
Should we fast forward this, or how long's left?
Yeah. We'll stick that one there. We'll stick that one here. We'll stick that one.
You never go, what time is it, kind of thing.
Yeah, you're invested.
You want it to be 10 stories and that.
I do. And it's kind of like, it's not greater than the sum of its parts.
No.
It's very much that. It's like they're all okay or good or, fun, but altogether it's not a classic. It doesn't really work. So, cinematography, I mean...
It's so different.
Yeah, it's every single one is very, very different. Like some are in a warehouse, most are on the street or in another house, or it's
in the bright.
Again, it's very low budget, and I think because of that, there's not great work in the kind of scenery or the setting up.
Again, The Weak and the Wicked, which is the one with the
demon of Halloween.
Well shot.
Yeah, that is
some
well
nice
shot.
and some nice techniques.
Yeah, I like Trick. I think there was some good, nice, suspenseful shooting
and
there.
I think Ding Dong.
Ding Dong again. I think if you're going to watch,
the ones that we said were the strong ones
are all great.
They're all got to be the best ones we talk about, and all these for these.
And we're going to mention them because they are the strongest. But but
that shows you why they're the strongest, because the music works, the writing's better, the acting's
100%,
better.
100%.
So those 5 ones that we've said are the best ones. I would have just been used on their own.
Yeah, and I would search out those 5 on YouTube and watch them back to back. And there's enough variety between those few ones as well that you can have a bit of fun. Yeah. Because I like the humorous ones as well. The scary ones are good and the humorous ones are good. And
like Friday the 31st with the that's one of my favourite sections, isn't it? But it's the most ridiculous.
Stupid.
It's the most
absolutely ridiculous, but it is fun. So again, another point for Trick or Treat for both of us. Yeah. And again, I'm going to predict that I think I know where direction's going to go. It's got to be Tales of Halloween. No, it's definitely clearly not.
Seeing as though there was 10 people directing Tales of Halloween,
I
think it should go to Tales of... No, it doesn't. It's Trick or Treat.
It is Trick or Treat. Again, it's one vision. And I think that's what helps it. It is one director's vision. I go, okay, I want this here. I want to sprinkle a bit of this story here, sprinkle a bit of this story there. And it works. And Tales of Halloween needed a Kevin Feige type. Yeah. They needed some sort of overseer, some mastermind behind it, who could, go, okay, I need you to plug this in.
Was there no main director on the film? There must have been an overall...
I'm not sure. I mean, I could look into it. Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't matter. It's still going to get panned.
Yeah.
But... So let's not embarrass them.
No, sorry, mate. I don't know. Maybe there was probably a producer and an editor. I don't know if there was an overall director.
It's so bitty, and that's what lets it down.
Yeah.
But then I don't think at the time there was anything coming out like it.
Yeah, exactly. 2015. Yeah. This Tales of Halloween, it's not a bad movie. It's just not as good as Trick or Treat.
Tales of Halloween was 10 years pretty much after.
I think so.
Something like that. After Trick or Treat. And both feels the other way around.
Yeah, it does.
Trick or Treat feels like the fresher, newer film.
Yeah.
Better shot. Better special effects. Everything's better. And then Tales of Halloween is like it's like student films.
Yeah, I agree.
And as you say, like they've been crowdfunded, or a couple of them have been crowdfunded.
Yeah, at least.
It's like they made, as we've mentioned before, they've made the 5 good ones and then crowdfunded
the rest.
5 extra bits.
Yeah. Have you got something lying around?
Want to flesh it out.
Here's a script.
Yeah. The studio said it's got to be 2 hours, like an hour and 45 minutes long. We've only got an hour. What can you do?
Yeah, and I know with certain stories, time, you've got to create a story you can tell. You've got to be kind of, what's the word? Kind of, kind of.
Yeah, that.
Exactly. You're going to be.
Sometimes you've just got to be.
What's the word? Kind of. Oh, I can't remember. Forget it. My brain is gone. It's been a long weekend.
You've been sat next to me too long.
You're infected me.
My brain is
the bad brain infection. You're the bad seed.
Oh, gone are the words, young talky man. You cannot think the words. You must make your own up now. Flimblesnads.
Scooperskit. But yeah, so, overall...
I'm dying to know what the sentence was going to be now, though. It's going to bug me.
It's...
What was the beginning of the sentence? Let's see
you have to be...
immersed in it, or...
It's kind of like... I want to be like not spending as much time or spending as much money on something. Frugal, yeah. Let's say frugal with the time. Let's say there's another word I'm thinking of, but frugal will work. So you've got to be frugal.
You need to hurry up getting this film out the way. Is what
I know, right? Yeah, you've got to be frugal. You've got to work with your time frame that you've been given. You've got to create something that you can fit within that time frame. You can tell that full story. And there's certain people that can't do that. There's certain people that can't work within a strict time frame, or certain people that can't. I've talked to people. You saw my interview with Amy Jimmy Choo, and she was talking about her.
Great interview. If you haven't,
it's very much on this podcast.
Have a listen because it's right good.
It's really good. And she talked about people that couldn't fit a story within 20 pages.
Yeah.
And she was like, you can't be a comic book writer if you can't do that. You've got to fit within those stringent rules, and that's it. And she told the story and it was great.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to this as well.
It hit home to me.
Yeah.
I've written a 15-page short film thing and then wanted to change it into a future shock.
Oh, yeah, of course you did. Yeah, I remember you saying.
Which is 4 pages. Damn, that's hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Still haven't done it.
Exactly, and there you go.
I'll get to it eventually. I will.
One day, but it is difficult. Well, it's a landslide victory for Trick or Treat.
For little Sam.
Yeah, for little Sam and his amazing little anthology film. And the director, I think the director is Michael Dougherty, who directed Krampus as well. So he's done Halloween, he's done Christmas, and then he did Godzilla King of the Monsters.
As you do.
As you do. That's how you travel in Hollywood.
Yes.
So fantastic film. I would go seek both of these films out because they are both a lot of fun. Trick or Treat, I would watch first, and again, if you don't want to watch all the Tales of Halloween,
I wouldn't. I'd watch Tales of Halloween first.
Kind of warm you up.
Yeah,
kind of a warm.
And then go, oh, that was terrible, and then go, oh,
and you go, this is an absolute classic.
This is how you're meant to do it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's not a bad movie. It just could be better.
Yes.
In comparison. Great. I've had a cracking time with you here today. Thank you for coming round. I know we've both not been very well.
No, we've been well. I tell you, oh God, the troubles I've had.
Oh, the troubles I've seen. But yes, we'll go now. And where can people find you on the social medias?
Well, they can find me on Facebook at Dan Burgess Photo.
Okay.
And they can find me on Instagram at Dan's Photo.
Great stuff.
And they can find me on Twitter. At Dan's Photo 1.
Oh,
you can see the theme running through that. See, there's more of a theme running through my social medias than there was in that film.
This podcast.
than there was in Tales of Halloween.
Yes, true. Yes, true. Try and follow this podcast if you can. And my other one with Michael Chandler. Good luck with both. So where to find me? You can find me on Facebook at Secret Bores, Twitter at Dan_Bores, Instagram SpiderDan Secret Bores, and this podcast is available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, and many, many more. And if you are going to interact with us, don't forget to use the hashtag #PrepareForPrattle.
Prepare for Prattle.
That's right, and have a happy Halloween. Bye-bye.